Welcome to another episode of We Don't Die, where my goal is to give you evidence that although our bodies will disappear, we survive physical death. When we aren't afraid of death, we are less afraid of life. From these episodes, I aim for all of us to take more risks in life, go after our dreams, have great relationships, and joy in the process. I'm your host, Sandra Champlain, author of the international bestseller, We Don't Die, A Skeptic's Discovery of Life After Death. And today on our show, I have Erica McKenzie. Erica is a registered nurse, has her bachelor's in science in nursing, is an inspirational speaker, messenger, advocate, researcher, and very soon to be author. And depending on when you listen to this, her book may actually be out. She is the creator of the online weekly show ETV. She is an active member of the National League for Nursing, American Nurses Association, the National Hospice and Palliative Organization, the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, and the International Association for Near-Death Studies. Erica is a near-death experiencer. After-death communication and orb phenomena experiencer. At the age of 12, Erica had an eating disorder that continued for 12 years. This led to an addiction to weight loss that took a toll on her health and eventually led to her death on October 1st, 2002. During her near-death experience, Erica was given tools and wisdom that she would need for sharing her new mission on Earth. Sharing these gifts she learned with others. However, before she could start sharing with others, Erica would go on to face some major medical challenges. Erica, I am honored that you're taking the time to be on We Don't Die Radio today. So Miss Erica McKenzie, welcome to We Don't Die Radio.
Thank you so much, Sandra, for having me. I just really appreciate everything you're doing and giving me this opportunity today to share with all of you.
You're welcome. And it's also great for me because from the privacy of my own home, I'm meeting great new friends. And I think many of us have a passion for making a difference with with others. And so we can all kind of join arms and work together in making this difference. So thanks for all you're doing as well.
Thank you.
So where in the world are you right now, if I can ask? I'm sitting in Massachusetts. How about you?
Well, I have this reputation. I guess I'm just going to say it. They call me Dorothy from Kansas.
Yes.
So yes, I am in Kansas.
That's awesome.
So we're just lucky that it is sunny today, and I'm enjoying the beautiful day. And as you said, just really looking forward to visiting with all of you.
Yeah. Well, let me ask this. The biggest question is, why do you believe in life after death? Could you tell us a little bit about your experience that maybe led up to the near-death experience and what happened?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's a great question, Sandra, and a loaded question.
Of course it is, and I know it takes some time, but we're here.
My best. The thing is ever since I was a little girl,
Uh-huh.
the environment that I was raised in, I learned a lot about the afterlife, and I learned about God. And the reason why I say the word God is because I was taught that God was a family member, like my sister Sarah, and so that was the name that was given at the time. But nonetheless, what I knew at that time as a young child was that there was more to what I could see and feel and hear on earth. And, I grew this relationship with God and spirit and knowing that there was so much more. And that being said, I can remember as a child being able to see, feel, and hear spirit all around me. And it was one of those things that, I didn't get to talk about it very much. I was more or less dismissed, so I kind of kept it to myself. But nonetheless, I did continue to grow this connection to the afterlife and carried it with me through my life. And I went through a lot of things, as you know, and will be coming out and talking about it in my book. But fast forward to, I had a near-death experience. And that's what has brought me to your show today. And I'm very blessed and thankful because this near-death experience completely changed my life.
Sure. And I see that you were talking in your on your website about phentermine, and I took that for a while. I have been a woman that spent my whole life, even from a little kid, dealing with weight and up and down and looking for something that would help me lose weight and keep it off. And
Right,
so I don't know the dangers of that, but
right.
that was the mode that you were using that eventually
Mhm.
um, led to the death, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's such a, I'm really glad, and thank you for sharing that, by the way, about yourself,
Oh, and I'm
because,
still doing it. You look at pictures of me, I could
right.
lose 60, 70 pounds. It's a battle. And, I have not yet learned this
Uh,
unconditional love for myself that I so greatly share that is necessary for others. So anyways, back to you.
well, it's so true. And Sandra, the interesting part is you and I are really big of a part of a big family of an epidemic problem of people that have this body image disorder. And
Hmm.
what I learned through my near-death experience, it actually took me dying to realize that I had focused on all the wrong things. My uniqueness was actually my value.
Oh,
And my value, that's my contribution here on this earthly journey. And so when I was doing things like, being bulimic for 12 years before I took the phentermine and then turning to phentermine, to try to fit in, to be good enough
right.
by mankind society standards, the whole time what was happening was I was losing me. I was
Oh,
losing this person, my blueprint that I was sent into the world when I was born to be. And it's so much more than that. We all have a job to do. We all have a mission while we're here on this earthly journey. And it's so interesting because, you look at all of us, we are all different. Yes, it's obvious, right? But
yes.
it's so much more than that. It's we are all different. I learned when I died is because it's part of the master, our creator's plan. And we are different because these are actually the tools that we come in with. So, um, it's something that is on my heart. It is my mission being sent back to do my best to have opportunities and be appreciative and have gratitude in my heart when people like you help me get the word out about my message and everything I went through in hopes to prevent other people from doing these things that are unhealthy and seeking something else when really their value is them.
It's funny you should say that because somebody just said to me yesterday that if I was like the perfect size two, that they could have whatever they wanted in their life and go after their dreams, they wouldn't believe me. But
Right.
because I am a human battling my own, not battling, but you know what I mean, just dealing with
That's
my own humanity, it makes me very trustworthy, very believable, very, she's she's like me, she's human. I want to listen to her. So it hit
absolutely
me that don't make myself wrong
right.
and still do the best I can, eat healthy and exercise and be the best I can, but don't be so hard on myself. I am unique, and you know what? Maybe this does make me more human to people that are listening and watching and things.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And if you don't mind, I would love to share one of the lessons. I spent a lifetime in heaven.
Can you just say what happened? Like, I don't want to say did you overdose, but was there something like what medically happened that led to the
Oh, absolutely.
flatlining?
Thanks for
Sure.
bringing that up. So what happened was this drug, phentermine, is designed to be taken under a doctor's supervision for 3 months
Okay.
at the most. So it's a short-term solution, basically.
Right.
And I ended up taking this class 4 narcotic, which is highly addictive, for 9 years.
Oh my. Okay.
So 3 months and 9 years is unfathomable
Right.
in comparison. And the side effects of the drug listed, there's several, but some of the more important side effects at the top are it obviously it decreases your appetite. So you don't want to eat as much. And for me, it made me not be able to sleep.
Wow.
It gave me a lot of energy, and over a period of time, 9 years of not wanting to eat or sleep, your neurons in your brain start misfiring. They just do. Because as you know, our bodies, we get so depleted of those things that we need the most.
Right.
And so I started having all kinds of symptoms with my body that were horrible to live with. And two of the very relevant symptoms were with my lungs, my breathing, and my heart. And what would happen quite frequently was I would just be standing or sitting, and all of a sudden I could feel my lungs not being able to open, and especially one of them, and just really starting to panic because not only would they not open and I couldn't breathe, but it was my brain had forgot how to send that signal to my lung, open. It's time to open,
Wow.
get your air, something that all of us take for granted. We don't even think about
Right.
breathing. Okay, it's
Right.
time to breathe, right? It's natural. But for me, being on this medication for so long and what it was doing to my body, so taxing, I was having such difficulty breathing. I would have to literally jump out of my chair or jump out of bed when I was sleeping, whenever it would happen, and jump up and down and start trying to get my air into my lungs and get my blood pumping and circulating, because along with it, each time I could feel my heart, and it
Oh,
was slowing, slower and slower and pumping harder and harder.
how
And
scary.
it was really scary. So I had a lot of symptoms that started manifesting that I knew. I couldn't deny it, that even though I was addicted to this drug that I thought I needed. And by the way, I had never taken drugs. This was the first time. And so to be on an addictive substance, for me, it controlled my life.
Sure.
And I had two babies at the time. I had a family, and it's really sad because even though I had this wonderful life, people looking in, I was really unhappy on the inside because I still didn't think I was good enough in
Hmm.
society. It's that whole feeling that a lot of us get. And
I know it well.
yeah. And so basically what happened after 9 years of, being on this drug, in a nutshell, I collapsed to the floor and I died. I left my body. I rose to the ceiling immediately. I remember looking down and knowing that, oh my gosh, that's me. And I remember knowing this is it. But I also remember at the same time being replaced. Oh my gosh, this is me. This is awesome. I could actually really breathe for the first time. It
Wow.
was completely different than what it had ever been, even when I was healthy on earth. Nothing compared to this exhilarating, wonderful feeling. And, up until this moment, I was afraid of dying. I
Uh-huh.
was so afraid of death. Even though I had had this connection, with spirit all these years, I was still afraid of dying. I was afraid of being judged
Hmm.
from what I grew up with in the religion that, I grew up with. I was sure I was going to be judged. So I was terrified. But Sandra, the thing is it was everything opposite of what I was taught. And it wasn't painful. In that moment that you would think dying would be painful, it was absolutely exhilarating and wonderful. And it was effortless. There was nothing I had to do because all of
Wow.
this unconditional love it came pouring in from everywhere. And literally, I remember looking down one more time at the paramedics coming in and the people around me and my body and just really admiring it and being thankful. And then I remember, looking up at the ceiling and letting go completely. And that's when I was embraced with all of this love and, taken effortlessly up through this tunnel, wonderful tunnel of light and love. And I knew in that moment that I was going home.
Oh,
I knew,
that's beautiful. Was the judgment there that you were fearing?
oh my gosh, that's such an important question. Judgment, because it defined me my entire life until that day I died. I let others judging me and me judging me
Yes.
define me. And so absolutely not. When I got to the end,
Yay!
I know,
Yay! Great.
that's the big reason why I know I was sent back,
Sure.
is to really do my best to help people not only hear my words, but to feel it so they cannot be afraid too. I am no different than anyone else. And I'm telling you, Sandra, excuse me, if anybody should have been judged according to what, I was raised in religion to believe, it should have been me.
Mm-hmm.
I messed up so much. I was not perfect. I should have been judged. But when I got to the end of the tunnel and I was delivered into the hands of God, and God and I stood together, and my life review began.
What does God look like? Wait a minute.
Well,
When you say you and God stood together, just paint that picture. Was it visual? Was it a feeling?
God was so great that it wasn't even possible for me to be able to see him.
Uh-huh.
He was on my right and we stood together and I could feel him. It was a feeling. He embraced me. And there was one point, in our journey when we were in heaven together in the lessons that I was able to see one part of God. And but at this point, I was not able to see him physically like I could see you if you and I were sitting together
Right.
in person. But it's very hard to describe, Sandra. Going on the other side, there's not enough words that give magnitude to things like how you feel and what God looked like, for example, and what the things you saw. But the best thing I can tell you is I have never felt or been embraced by anything to this magnitude. And not only that, instantly the way that we communicated, God and I began to communicate, was telepathically. And so if I thought or felt a feeling, it was replaced with knowledge from God on the answers to what it was. And it was incredible. So, while I couldn't see with my eyes, it was a different kind of seeing. It was a knowledge that I was
Yes.
given.
And I know that was kind of a loaded question because
Yeah.
I've heard from many that our senses are just so extremely
That's right.
huge and wonderful and alive that there's really no words to describe.
It's true. Absolutely. And so, for me, what happened was we stood together and literally it was like we were in a huge movie theater, God and I. And, I heard a vintage sounding projector in my left ear and it was counting down. I could hear it, 3, 2, 1. And then all of a sudden in front of us, the galaxy, the stars lined up and made a curtain. And the curtain pulled back and there was a movie screen and it said on it, the life review of Erica McKenzie. So
Wow.
here's God and I standing together in the universe, and I'm having a life review from the day I was born, until the day I died. And in that life review, it was very interesting. I kept waiting. I just knew I was going to be judged. I just knew it, and I wasn't judged.
Wow.
And it was interesting because even though I was this heightened sense of me, I still was able to think, oh my gosh, I know I'm going to be judged. Isn't that what I deserve? And the whole time I was not judged. I was actually shown different events in my life and loved, absolutely, unequivocally loved unconditionally. By more love than you can imagine, it poured in through me that there was times I thought I was going to explode with all of this love. I didn't know if I could fit any more in. And, we got to the end of that life review and God and I, he taught me some more lessons. And then in front of me appeared something. And I just want to share this because I think this is really important and it
Sure.
goes all with what you and I, felt in our lives with our image and all that. Appeared in front of me a pair of eyeglasses. Now, Sandra, I've never worn glasses my whole life, so I don't know what that's like here on Earth, but I'm quite certain these glasses were not at all like the kind that people wear.
Uh-huh. To see with
Yes.
eyes. Yes.
Yes. First of all, these glasses were the size of a semi-truck. Okay, a vehicle.
Huge. Okay.
Huge. So I'm thinking, what am I supposed to do with these glasses? And of course, it's telepathic communication and I know I'm supposed to put them on. So as soon as I think, oh my gosh, there's no way I can put these on, I find at the same time my hands are drawing near the glasses and the glasses are coming to my face. And as I get the glasses on, they fit perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And then God said, now look. And when he said, now look, again in my left ear, the movie projector, 3, 2, 1, I could hear it counting down and the stars parted again. Second life review, Sandra. I got 2 life reviews. And again, this life review started from the day I was born, until the day that I died. And this time, I did not see the things that I saw before. And this time, I saw the things that are significant and deemed important by God, by the one that creates us.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that was a huge, huge learning opportunity, because what I didn't tell you is in the first life review, the things that I saw were things that were accomplishments. They were deemed important by man. They were everything from like losing a tooth and, getting praised for that, going to graduation from high school, getting awards for cheerleading that I had, for
Right.
playing sports, going to college and graduating with this, prestigious degree and getting married, all of these beautiful milestone events, but that people really kind of judge us on, or that's what makes us supposedly valuable.
What kind of things did you see in the second life review, like making a difference for another or a time that you learned something?
Right. Absolutely. I did not see those things at all. Like the first time, I had seen things like helping others, being a friend to someone when everybody else was just downright mean,
Uh-huh.
bullying. People would bully, people would belittle. And me being there and not even remembering that I would give support and love and be
Mm-hmm.
someone's friend, or helping animals. That was a big one. I'm a huge animal lover, and helping animals, giving love, helping an elderly person with their groceries across the street. Um,
That is so sweet that
yeah,
that's what's important.
yeah,
Those actions,
absolutely those things. It's the only thing that's important is love,
making a difference in love.
making a difference with love. Anything that we do, think, and say, when we have care and concern and love linked to it, that's what matters.
Wow.
Matters. And so, it was a really big learning curve for me because I had it all wrong. I had it all wrong before I died. And I was able to help and do those things, but not to the magnitude that I needed to, because I was so hard on myself. You see, I didn't really love me.
Yeah, I know that feeling personally, and I
Right.
think many of us do.
Right.
And
And
we,
that's,
yeah.
it's important. It's really important because here's the thing. We can go through our lives and we can be helpful and we can love others. But until we learn to take the time and do the work, see, it's work for many of us to learn to love ourselves. And that means doing the work. You really love yourself. And what that means is, Sandra, is that we have to look at our blueprints. Our blueprints, it's our gifts that we have. Each of us have these different gifts that we were given.
Hmm.
We have to learn to love who we are the way our Creator made us, because that is our value right there. And until we can, if you think about it, if we don't love ourselves, how can we really go on and love others and do these great things together and empower people to the magnitude that is designed for us? We can't.
Right. We can't.
We really can't. And so we have to not only talk the talk, we got to walk the walk. And I wasn't doing that. And so I had to learn, when we got to the end of that life review, that second one, and God said to me, Erica, when you were born, each and every one of you, the lesson of the gifts, I give you all gifts. And that lesson, Sandra, was just incredible, and it's something that I hope, with getting sent back, that I can help everybody know. And if they don't know, call me. Let's sit down. I know you have gifts. I will help you. I am determined, each and every one of us, to really learn to love ourselves so that we can go on using our gifts, our uniqueness, our value, and helping others. It's a rippling effect.
Wow. Did you see anything else in your journey into heaven?
Oh my gosh. Yes, absolutely. There, I was there for the best way to describe it to people is I died at 31. And so at that time, I felt like I was in heaven for another 31 years, a lifetime, a human lifetime.
Wow.
And that's, yeah. And so, um, I learned so much. God and I shared so many lessons. After the two life reviews, and I had a lesson of the rippling effect. And then I also I
What does
had a
that mean? The lesson of the rippling effect.
well, there's a lot that goes into it, and that's one reason why I felt compelled. I'm not a writer. I actually love speaking more, but
Uh-huh.
I knew I had to write it down to share it because there's a lot of important details in it. But just in a nutshell, the rippling effect is exactly what I'm saying. That even we need to learn to love ourselves and value instead of change. See, people think change yourself, change the world. But really think about that. That's just a surface thing.
Uh-huh. It is.
I ask you to consider value yourself, which requires you to do exactly what I just said. Value yourself, change the world. And that's, in a nutshell, the rippling effect, because as you know, we all affect each other, whether we ever get to meet each other in person, animals, it doesn't matter. We are the rippling effect. And it was a really beautiful lesson that I learned that I talk about in the book. And just knowing, and people have peace that no one is more important than anyone else. And, we are each equal and important and significant and beautiful rippling effects. And
Yeah. I
after
have
the, go ahead.
Oh, I just have a picture in my mind of the ripple effect. Like, we'll use this show for an instance. Neither you nor I know from having this conversation who's listening, and then who can tell who, whether they listen or they don't, but even just some of the words about making a difference or embracing our uniqueness and things like that, how they may share it and how that might ripple to some kid that makes a difference in their lives, and then they grow up making a difference. And to me, the ripple effect is it just keeps on going. And so to see in just your eternity in heaven, your other 31 years, like those small things, all starting with self-love and self-valuing and embracing our uniqueness, the difference that that will ripple out with. Is that kind of along the lines of the ripple effect?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And, if you think about it, if everybody would just take this lesson and feel the courage and the faith to be able to really invest in themselves and their value, they would start to see things differently and have the strength and believe in themselves to use their gifts. And I'll tell you what, you want to talk about a strong rippling effect. How
Yes.
about a bunch of people walking around feeling really good about themselves and feeling they can contribute with these beautiful gifts they have and feeling great about them? That is such a strong rippling effect. And that's when we change the world. That's when we change it. We really shift it.
It's funny that we're having this conversation. I just watched an episode of Steve Harvey on his TV show, and
Mhm.
he's got a new book out. I forgot the name of it, but it's all about embracing your unique gifts. And then I'm part of a workshop, a conference that helps people become writers called Author 101 University. And two of the little girls, I forgot how old they are, but they're, under 10. They just wrote a book, their first book, and it's called I Love Me. And it's how to embrace and our own self-esteem. It just came in the mail to me yesterday. And
Oh,
so
that's,
having you be the third person that's saying really to embrace our uniqueness and love ourselves and starts with us, there's a real message coming to me and I think others as well.
it's so true. And, after the rippling effect, God and I shared another lesson, and it was called the gifts.
Okay.
And, that goes along the lines of everything that we're talking about. And for me, it was, God telling me to look, I looked to my right, and again, the stars parted. And in
That is
front,
so cool.
I know, I tell you, what I learned, one thing I did learn about having this near-death experience was that God shows each and every one of us exactly what we are to see or what we are to know in that very moment,
Right.
because it is part of a bigger plan. And yeah, so for me, I'm very much a visual, hands-on
Hmm.
learner.
Yep.
And so there was a lot of visual things that happened for me because of that, so that I would be able to never forget when I came back, so that I could deliver the messages to people and help. But yeah, so the stars parted, and in front of me, do you know what appeared?
No.
Shelves. Now, Sandra, these
Sh-
weren't they weren't
Shelves like bookshelves? Shelves?
yes, these
Okay,
were not normal
shelves.
bookshelves though. They took on a life of their own, like you and I are breathing and alive. They were so powerful, white, beautiful, beaming shelves. And these shelves, I remember knowing to look to my left, and I looked to my left out in front of me past the furthest galaxy till I couldn't see any further, and the shelves kept on going. And then I remember God telling me, to look to my right and behind me to the furthest stars and galaxy that way. The shelves kept on going. And then I remember knowing, okay, now look up. So Erica looks up.
More
I looked up.
shelves?
Yeah, the shelves kept on going to past the highest star. I couldn't even see anymore. And then all of a sudden, on all of these shelves appear gifts, presents. Like at Christmas, if you go down underneath the tree,
Ah, love that. Okay.
all of these presents.
Uh-huh.
But remember how many shelves and how far they're going. Now, not one gift was the same. I remember looking and taking a mental notation. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. They were all wrapped so beautifully, so different sizes and shapes. Not one gift was the same.
That's a
The
beautiful picture.
It is. And, I'm looking and I'm enjoying all of this magnificence and feeling all of this love and this powerful knowledge coming into me. And God looks at me and he said, Erica, when you were born, when all of you were born, I give each and every one of you gifts. And when you were born, I gave you the gift of patience and I gave you the gift of beauty.
Hmm.
And this was the first time in my experience in heaven with God, because I was raised in a generation where you really respected your elders and you didn't really, talk back to them.
Uh-huh.
And unfortunately, at this point, it just came out of me when God said that. I said, oh, no, no, God, that can't be right.